In the heart of a quiet Lagos suburb stood a modest bungalow with peeling cream paint and a proud metal gate that creaked when opened. Within it lived the Adebayos, a family spoken of with reverence throughout the community. Reverend Benedict Adebayo was the spiritual rock of Grace Pillar Ministries, a man of rigid principle. His sermons echoed righteousness, his posture breathed discipline, and his words carried the weight of scripture. His wife, Mama Clara, long dead from childbirth complications, had left him with 3 daughters. Funke, the eldest, wore her faith like a second skin. Always in long skirts and headscarves, she taught Sunday school and baked communion bread with holy seriousness. Lola, the second, sang in the choir with a voice so angelic, old women wept during worship. But it was Sade, the youngest, who brought both light and shadow into their world. Beautiful, with smooth skin the color of polished mahogany, and eyes that could lure secrets out of strangers, she was her father's weakness. Unlike her sisters, she rarely wore skirts longer than her knees. She rolled her eyes during prayer, sighed loudly during evening devotions, and often pretended to be sick on service days. "This girl go wound person one day," Mama Nkechi, a church elder, once murmured after Sade sauntered into Sunday service in tight jeans and red lipstick. Still, Reverend Benedict adored her. "She's still growing," he would say, brushing off the whispers. "The Spirit will catch her soon." That night, while Funke and Lola polished their memory verses, Sade quietly applied foundation before her bedroom mirror. The house was silent, but for the muffled voices from Daddy's radio. By 11:30 p.m., the compound slept. Sade tiptoed past the living room where her father had dozed off in his armchair, Bible open on his chest. She slipped out in a crop top, heels in hand, and a mini skirt that shimmered in the moonlight. Her boat ride was waiting 2 streets away. As the car sped into the neon-lit stretch of Victoria Island, Sade leaned back, letting the wind mess her curls. She was no longer the pastor's daughter. She was Shay, the fire of every party, the girl men whispered about. Behind her, the quiet house stood like a monument to a lie. The club throbbed with bass and laughter. Sade, or Shay as she preferred in that world, danced on the tabletop with a bottle of Moet in hand. Her Instagram live buzzed with hearts. Sweat clung to her skin as she twerked and screamed, "Lagos no dey dull." At 2:47 a.m., a photo was snapped. Sade, drunk, one heel missing, leaning on a man whose hands were too familiar with her body. She didn't know who took it. By 8 a.m., it was viral. The caption read, "Is this not Pastor Adebayo's last daughter? Now wa'o." The WhatsApp groups flamed. Church mothers forwarded it with added commentary. "See disgrace. Children of nowadays. This one a Jezebel." Reverend Benedict sat frozen at his breakfast table, eyes glued to the phone Funke had handed him. His porridge had gone cold. "This is not my daughter," he whispered. Funke's voice trembled. "It's her, Daddy. Look at the bracelet. You gave her that for her graduation." Lola broke into tears, covering her face. Jesus, take control. That Sunday, the church was full. Not because of the sermon, but because people wanted to see the man whose daughter had become a meme. Reverend Benedict stood in the pulpit, trembling slightly, but his voice held steady. My daughter is not perfect. None of us are. But this house of God, will not fall to gossip. We stand on grace. Applause rose, but in the corners, whispers lingered like shadows. By Monday, the gossip had grown legs. Sade's photo made it into Lagos Gist, a blog known for spiritual scandals. Headlines screamed, "Party girl pastor's daughter exposes church hypocrisy." Church members debated in hushed tones during Tuesday fellowship. "Na so these pastors they hide things," a woman murmured. "If your own pike and fit they drink for club like fish, wetin you they preach give us." Even Brother Cheeky, the ever-smiling usher, began arriving late to services. The church's atmosphere changed. Offerings reduced subtly. Sister Afioma pulled her daughter from the church youth group. At home, Reverend Benedict gathered his daughters. His voice broke as he spoke. "I have labored in this vineyard for 27 years, and now the soil is poisoned. Sade, what are you doing to us?" Sade, defensive, snapped. "So because I went to a club, I'm suddenly the devil? I just want to live, Baba. I'm tired of pretending." Fonke shouted, "Live as what? A disgrace?" Lola added, "You think we don't want to go out too? But we choose this path because we respect Daddy and God." Sade stormed out. Behind her, her father's heart cracked a little more. The next day, someone printed the photo and pasted it on the church gate. In red marker, they scribbled, "Reverend of Shame." Sade didn't come home that night, or the next. When she finally returned, her eyes were sunken, her lips dry. But she walked with that same boldness, as though shame had no claim on her. Funke confronted her in the hallway. "Where have you been?" Sade shrugged. "Out. You think this is a joke? Daddy hasn't eaten. He's been praying for days." Sade scoffed. "Maybe his God should fix everything then." Later that week, Reverend Benedict received an anonymous envelope. Inside was a set of photos. Sade, in lingerie, straddling a man old enough to be her uncle. Another showed her in a hotel corridor with a wad of cash in hand, and a note. "Pay N2 million, or this goes to every pastor in Lagos." He crumbled. Lola found him on the floor of his room, sobbing like a child, clutching the photos to his chest. "She's selling herself," he wailed. The blackmail was ignored. The sender followed through. One by one, church elders received emails. Screenshots of Sade's secret OnlyFans page circulated. Private clients came forward anonymously, some boasting of how Shay serviced them in Lekki apartments. Grace Pillar Ministries became a mockery. The morning after the scandal exploded beyond redemption, the house was quiet. Not the silence of peace, but the eerie, heavy silence of something that had died but refused to be buried. Reverend Benedict had locked himself in his study. For the first time in over 2 decades, morning devotion was skipped. The Bible lay untouched on the center table. Sade sat in the kitchen, sipping gari soaked in cold water, She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicking. She was tired. Tired of being made to feel like a stranger in her own home. Tired of pretending to be someone else. Funke barged in. "You have finished us, Sade." Her voice was sharp. "You have destroyed everything we built." "I didn't destroy anything," Sade replied. "You all just built your lives on lies, on appearances. I only showed the truth." Lola entered next, holding a folded newspaper. "They wrote about you in Sunday Vanguard. Page 6, full color." She tossed it on the table. The headline screamed, "Pastor's Daughter Exposed as High-Class Escort." Below, a blurred image of Sade straddling a man in a penthouse suite. "Do you know how many calls we've gotten?" Funke continued. "Do you know how many members have left the church? And how many of them care about us, really?" Sade asked. "If they loved us, they would have asked why I ended up here. But no, they just want to protect their own pride." "Don't twist it, Sade," Lola shouted. "You chose this. You chose to betray Daddy, to stain everything we worked for." Sade stood abruptly. Her chair scraped against the tile. "You think I wanted to become a plaything for rich men? You think I enjoyed pretending to be holy while I cried myself to sleep every night, praying for Mama to come back, praying for Daddy to see me, not just preach at me?" The door creaked open. Reverend Benedict stood there. He looked older than he had the day before. His robe hung from his frame like it didn't belong to him. "Go inside," he said to Funke and Lola. They hesitated. "Now." They obeyed. He looked at Sade. "Sit." She did. "I saw the videos. I figured. I also saw your messages. I hacked into your old phone, the one you forgot in your drawer." Sade froze. "You begged one of your clients to leave you alone. Said you wanted to stop, that you were scared." She didn't speak. He sighed. "I failed you." Sade's eyes widened. "I failed you as a father. I failed God as his servant. I created an image, but I did not raise a child. I raised a trophy." Tears filled her eyes. "But this path you're walking, it leads to death, Sade. Maybe not a physical one, but a death of everything that matters. Family, faith, dignity." He paused, then added, "I still love you, but I don't know how to protect you anymore." For the first time in years, Sade wept openly in her father's arms. But outside, a different storm brewed. The church board met that Sunday without Reverend Benedict. He was still in bed, drained. Elder Oho, the most senior among them, led the meeting. "We can't allow this scandal to drown the work of the Lord. Our tithes have dropped by 47% in 2 weeks. Members are not showing up. Sponsors have pulled back. Something must be done." "But he's the founder," Sister Blessing said cautiously. "Founders can fall," Oko replied coldly. "This is bigger than one man. It is about the church." That evening, they visited him. "Reverend, we're here out of love," Oho began. "I know why you've come," Benedict interrupted. "You want me to step down." They looked at each other. Funke stood beside her father, furious. After everything he has done, he gave his life to this ministry. And now his daughter is giving the ministry death, Oho snapped. Sade, who had been eavesdropping from behind the curtain, stepped into view. You don't have to kick him out, she said quietly. I'll leave. For good. No! Benedict shouted. I won't lose you too. But it was too late. 2 weeks later, a major prostitution ring in Victoria Island was raided by police. Among the girls arrested, Sade. The news broke instantly. TV stations showed her face. Newspapers reprinted the same viral photos with new, harsher captions. Pastor's daughter caught in sex ring raid. Videos circulated online of her being shoved into a police van, makeup smeared, shoes missing. At home, Funke fainted. Lola collapsed in prayer. Benedict locked himself inside again. The final blow came when a client, a popular politician, was caught in the same sting. To save his own name, he pointed fingers, claimed Sade had been supplied by top pastors' children. The authorities began probing Grace Pillar Ministries. EFCC agents stormed the church the next day. The church was sealed. Reverend Benedict sat on the pew outside the gates, holding the same Bible he had held every Sunday for 27 years. Sade was granted bail under the condition she left Lagos for a while. She disappeared. Some said she fled to Ghana. Others claimed she joined a rehab center in Benin. Reverend Benedict died in his sleep 3 weeks later. The autopsy said heart failure. Funke said it was shame. At the funeral, Lola read a short eulogy. He lived for God, died of heartbreak, and was buried by scandal. As the final shovel of sand hit the coffin, a whisper passed through the crowd. Pride buried a father, secrets buried a church. And just like that, the Adebayos were history. But in a village far away, a girl named Shay sat under a mango tree, writing in a worn-out diary. One day, she wrote, I will tell this story, but not as the villain, as the girl nobody saved.